Dr. Jerry, you got the whole world waiting. Been ready for you to start the conversation. Your point of view, it got the haters confused. Leave it up to you to bring us all the good news. Positive vibes and the sex appeal too. Dr. Andre Jerry, can I get an interview?
Good evening and welcome to Live with Dr. Andre Jerry, your trusted source for real conversations, practical wisdom, and purpose-driven insight. I'm your host, Dr. Andre Jerry, and we're broadcasting live from Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. This show is broadcast worldwide in over 128 countries and has featured artists, authors, entertainers, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders from across the globe. So wherever you may be tuning in from tonight, or if you're catching the podcast of this episode, on behalf of myself and Artist First Radio, I want to thank you for your listenership. Okay, so tonight, I'm really excited to welcome back to the show one of my favorite guests that I've had the pleasure of interviewing over the past 4 years. This brother has mentored thousands, and he's impacted countless lives and has become one of the most respected voices in workforce development, mentorship, and youth empowerment. He's a nationally recognized motivational speaker, career coach, author, master workshop facilitator, and workforce development leader who specializes in empowering post-secondary youth and underserved communities. Now, through his work, he's earned numerous accolades for his dedication to mentoring at-risk youth and supporting returning citizens and helping people transform setbacks into purpose and opportunity. Recently, he was named the 2025 Youth Workforce Professional of the Year by the National Association of Workforce Development Professionals, which honestly, none of this comes as any surprise if you know this brother, if you know his level of work that he's been putting in. So when it comes to workforce development and helping people find direction and rediscover their value, he's Timothy. Dr. Paige, welcome back to the show.
Man, Dr. Andre Jerry, how much I owe you for that intro, man?
No charge, brother. You earned
it. God bless you. Thank you so much for having me again. I really appreciate it.
Oh, listen, it's truly an honor to have you back on the show, so thank you. It's been about 3 years since our last conversation.
Wow.
And 3 years. And, you know, a lot of great stuff has happened for you over that time. And we're definitely going to get into all of that shortly. But first, if you don't mind, just because we picked up quite a few listeners since your last appearance on Live. So for those of you out there who may be hearing Dr. Paige's story for the first time, just take us a little back a little bit and share with our audience about your background and your journey and how you ultimately became one of the most respected and sought after voices in workforce development and youth empowerment.
Man, no problem. All I'm gonna say is, man, let me know if I talk too much. You know I do that sometimes.
No, you got
it. But no, man, life was crazy as an adolescent for me, right? So I'll start there. And I want to start there intentionally because most of the listeners either are in that space of workforce development, helping people, or they have that person, little BJ, in their household, right? So sometimes they just need to hear, you know, some real background and story. So I remember being in high school, man, and I was, you know, all county basketball, all state football. I was the homecoming king, like that really popular guy, right? Didn't really have my father in my life, but he was around. Didn't have him in the household. Didn't really visit him as often as I would have liked to. It's funny, man, that we're here. You and I just talked briefly before him. My father just passed. So I want to give a quick shout out, thank you and love to him and everything he done for my life. And this story will make sense at the end. But I remember finding myself in a bad situation one night, right? I called it that famous Friday night after having that full scholarship to West Virginia, all of that good football stuff. It was a big group fight. And in that group fight, some bad things happened to a few people. And because I was the popular kid, right, the popular guy, I got to school Monday, and I remember vividly looking at my administrator with that finger like, come here. And when I went to him, I ended up getting expelled from Prince George's County Public Schools right here in the state of Maryland. again, not having a father figure. My mom did everything she can. She was working, in the government at that time. We ended up going to D.C. public schools, Dr. Jerry. And in D.C. public schools, would you believe that the first day in D.C. public schools, I got expelled? It's going to make sense at the end. You know most of the story, but it's going to make sense. But in that moment, I realized I didn't have my scholarship. I'm expelled from 2 jurisdictions. What am I going to do? So my mom said, let's do a homeschool and figure this thing out so you can graduate. In homeschool, would you believe the little old BJ got expelled from homeschool? Dr. J, you're not supposed to laugh. But I remember that feeling of guilt, like, what am I going to do? I have to figure out how to graduate. So I had to find another means. In that means, my father was living in another jurisdiction in Maryland, Montgomery County Public Schools. So we reached out to my father. I ended up moving with him. Lo and behold, I graduated on time, was beginning to rebuild that relationship with him because I didn't have, again, a real mentor. I didn't have the scholarships, but I still had to find life. And I ended up going to the United States Air Force, one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. Sad but true. Would you believe in the United States Air Force, because the D.C. area followed me without proper mentorship, I ended up getting locked up and kicked out the United States Air Force. All that before I was 22, and life began. So, Dr. Andre Jerry, what do? You come back home. You have this felony. You have to figure out life. I ended up working in every career field you can think of, doing what's best for my family, my now wife and 2 kids. We had to figure out what was the best things to do. So I got in every career field you can think of: hospitality, education, grocery. I always talk about this one because this is funny to me. I ended up going to Precision Tune Auto, and that's where your car. They work on your car. I was the manager, the general manager at Precision Tune, and I can't even change oil. But I was always finding a good career. And I ended up sitting at a desk of a gentleman who said, man, you're doing all this work in all these different fields. You're helping people get jobs. Do you know what workforce development is? And I said, yeah. And he looked at me and said, what is it? I said, I have no idea. And I want to give a shout out to that gentleman because I know a listener or two may know him in the workforce world. That gentleman was named Walter Simmons. Shout out to Mr. Walter Simmons, my brother, my friend, my mentor, my big homie, everything you can think of. I love you and I appreciate you. But in that moment, he's like, man, you got to help other people. So we ended up starting a nonprofit called Boys to Bow Ties. Boys to Bow Ties was everything that people know me from today, right? It was the worst business I ever done, but the best business at the same time. In Boys to Bow Ties, we help young men ages 8 to 18 find how to be a man, some small things, making breakfast, washing clothes, making your tat, dressing nice, presentation, ultimately respect and accountability. And that was the kickoff. So the next 15 to 18 years to lead today, I've done every position you can think of in the nonprofit world for workforce development and mentorship. And the sky's the limit, man. I look at this as just the beginning because I'm learning stuff every day from people like you.
That's wonderful, man. And that makes sense why you are so excelling so much in this workforce development space, because you have had all this experience with various jobs and getting linked up to Walter Simmons. Shout out to him. Definitely it takes a mentor. It takes some intervention from someone who really cares about you, sees your potential, and kind of steers you in the right direction. Mm-hmm. And, listening to your story, I definitely could relate to certain parts of it. Back when I was in school and what people, I guess, would have called a troubled youth, getting suspended and, getting into trouble, acting out, I can sort of look back and realize that a lot of that behavior was just rooted in acceptance and wanted to belong. I was bullied growing up and things like that. And, I probably was also trying to process my parents separating and then later divorcing. And so I'm curious, when you look back at now at that younger version of yourself that was getting expelled and getting kicked out of the Air Force and all of that, what do you think you were really searching for during that period in your life?
What I was searching for, but you triggered something that I want the listeners to hear. What was getting me in trouble was everything revolved around the word help. I was always helping somebody to either do something else or defending them from somebody doing something to them. The thing was, because this is why we need guidance and leadership and mentorship to young people. Because the thing is, I didn't have the tools and the techniques and the listening ear or the voice to my listening ear to show me how to make the help be positive. So sometimes my help would come off disrespectful. Sometimes my help would come off like vulgar. But it was the passion that I had because I knew something wasn't right. Something wasn't right in that situation where I'm like, no, I want to help them. Or no, you can't do that. And today, it's the same thing that fuels me and pays me every day. The same word, help. So the thing that's in the young people, maybe that may get them in trouble, may be the same very thing that's going to carry them for the remainder of their lifetime.
Do you feel like when you were kicked out of the Air Force, do you feel like that was something that was actually redirecting you toward your real purpose? Because when we talked last time, I was telling you that we had some parallels. I also joined the Air Force at age 17, and I ended up getting kicked out. If I was still kicked out, they call it not a military, but a medical discharge from sickle cell. But I still kind of felt dejected after that. I felt rejected and just felt kind of lost, honestly. I felt like a failure for a while because in my mind, I had my life mapped out. I was supposed to go from basic training to the Air Force Academy. I was going to be an officer and have this long military career like my dad had, but none of that happened. Life just kind of intervened, and I guess the universe had other plans for me and things like that. So, that's why I asked, looking back at your own experience, when you got kicked out of the military, did that sort of redirect you towards your real purpose, or how long did it take you to realize that this was a blessing in disguise, so to speak?
Man, I'm gonna keep it, as we say, a thou wow with you, right? I'm gonna keep it honest with you. Keep it 1,000. At first, man. So now that I know what was going on, every time I take a strength test, competition is always in the top 5, right? Every time. So at first, I just wanted to prove everybody in the military that was a part of me being kicked out wrong. So the fuel was anything I can do to prove them wrong, right? But I didn't feel like a failure at first because I was in such a competition with the process. This is first time people hearing this, Dr. Andre Jerry. I didn't feel like a failure to about maybe 4 to 5 years ago from today. And the failure was in a moment where I'm looking at people that was in the military with me retire. I'm looking at them retire because just like you, my plan was to join the military, do 20 years, then do another 20 years with Capitol Police. I had a whole plan of retiring twice, and it didn't work out that way. So I didn't feel like a failure at the beginning. I started to feel like a failure a little bit in the height of my success in workforce development about 4 to 5 years ago. And I'm like, it's people retiring that ain't got to work no more. And I'm hustling, bruh. I'm hustling every day. And in that moment, man, I don't remember how long it lasted, but it didn't last a long time because something, obviously God spoke to me and it's like, but you're doing what you love every day without a worry.
Right.
Because those same people, no disrespect to them if they hear this, man, and I hope it doesn't sound disrespectful. Them same people are not really happy at the 20 years that they laid their life down for the military, and they weren't happy where they were in retirement. Then now they feel like they got to find themselves. Where I've been found myself 15 years ago, 18 years ago, and I'm living the dream every day.
Right. I'm glad you mentioned that because a lot of people will resonate with what you just said. You're doing work that's purposeful. Not to say that military has its purpose, but to your point, most people do have to put their own selves aside when they join the military because the mission becomes all about protecting the country, serving the public. And so even though, 20 years and you're relatively young in your 40s and you get to retire, you've put so much of your life on pause, and now you have to figure out, okay, who am I? What do I really want to do? What am I interested in? And you can feel, although you're retired and maybe accomplished, there's a part of you that's like, I haven't done anything for myself. I don't know who I am apart from the military. Yeah. So I can understand how some of them may feel a bit lost in that regard. But I think every road has its path. I think one of the things I heard that you mentioned in your nonprofit, Boys to Bow Ties, one thing I like about you is you don't shy away from talking about your failures. You just stated that was a good business, but also it was a bad business. So I kind of like that you don't shy away from telling people that, I had some momentum with it, went to Steve Harvey, made it to Little Big Guys, and, but ultimately that venture failed. How important is it to talk about failures in your growth as a leader and as a man?
Yeah, man. I'll use a sports story as an analogy to answer that. And if I need to elaborate more, just please, I know you're going to let me know anyway. Yeah. You're great at what you do. So I'll use a guy by the name of Kobe Bean Bryant. You know that dude?
No.
Kobe
I'm not
Bryant.
A sports guy, so forgive me about that.
You know Kobe Bryant?
Kobe Bryant? Oh, yeah. Okay, you said another name. Say the name again?
His nickname was Bean.
Oh, okay. I got you. Kobe Bryant, I got you.
Yeah. So Kobe, even if, this is why I like using Kobe, because even if you're not a sports guy, you know Kobe. Kobe Bryant broke all of these records, right? Some of the most amazing records you can think of, from NBA Finals to points to the amount of points he scored in the game. Like he has amazing accolades, and the people in the sports world love him for that. But it's one that even some of the most well-known statistician in the NBA don't really keep this one. They don't keep this one. Kobe Bryant broke the record for the most missed shots in NBA history. 14,481 missed shots. And it's never been done. Never been done. So him missing that many shots, people don't talk about it because of all the wins that he has. So sometimes I like to talk about the mistakes or what one would say is a failure, just so they'll know that, hey, my little bit of mistake ain't that bad, because look at all the things that BJ done. Look at all the positive things. Even when we talk about being locked up, I don't really lead with it. By the time some people found out that I was locked up in the military, they've seen all of the work that I do, the body of work, the positivity, that one mistake don't matter. It doesn't even matter. People have mistakes, within them that they're ashamed of. And they shouldn't be ashamed because it's a part of your story, it's a part of your DNA. And you have all of these positive things that you've done that's going to outlive that anyway.
That's very true. That's a big part of this platform that I have here. I like to use my lived experiences and some of the mistakes and so-called missteps that I've made. And I like to just be forthcoming and honest about them, to, just humanize being able to make mistakes and so-called failing, because a lot of times we're failing forward, we don't even realize it. And by being honest and upfront about, hey, I took a misstep here, I took a misstep there, I could have did a little better in that regard, it opens the door for other people to have less shame about their mistakes and missteps. So there's a way to kind of turn poison into medicine, so to speak, when you are open and honest about your failure. So I really like that you make that a part of your platform. I would wonder what the younger BJ would think about the person who you are today. What do you think about that?
Yeah, you know what? So I often ask people that when I'm, kind of interviewing them per se, just talking to people. And I hear a lot of the cliche answers, right? Everybody get a cliche answer. I wouldn't tell them nothing. This is what I meant to be. Like, I just had an interview that I posted from a few years ago with Wallow. Shout out to Wallow. And that's exactly what Wallow said. Like, I wouldn't change nothing. But I would think that younger me, I would want them to know that you got to avoid some things. Like, I'm so thankful for where I am today. I'm thankful to God of who I am and what I do. But if I would have did a few things different at a young age, I would probably be on a higher level of whatever that higher level is. And that's not a bad thing. Like, people say, oh, you shouldn't say that because, it's meant to be. Well, sometimes what's meant to be could have been different if we would have made a different choice.
True.
We're fresh off of, I'm sure you and I are going to talk about a little bit. We're fresh off Second Chance Month, right? Like,
yeah.
Sometimes your choices can get you in trouble where it can be impacting you for the rest of your life. So you need to tell your younger self some things. And that's really why I do the work that I do. I look at some of the young people that I work with, the young boys and the young women, and I tell them, like, look, sometimes the only difference between me and some other people is one decision.
One decision.
I laugh at my TED Talk that I did, just thinking about the 35,000 decisions we make every day. 35,000 decisions. That was the decision to do that TED Talk. I was fresh out of brain procedure, right? What if I didn't do that TED Talk? What if I decided not to? Somebody needed to hear that one piece that I did, even though I was fresh off of surgery. My wife and my mom was like, no, don't do it. And I said, no, people need to hear it.
That's interesting. I definitely watched your TED Talk, and I definitely had that as one of our talking points for today. But I'm curious to know, I could not tell from your delivery or from your energy or anything in that TED Talk that you had recently had a procedure. How did you come about making the decision to push through and decide to do that anyway, instead of delaying it for possibly another time?
Man, it was all God, man. I just look at life different. I really do. And then I'm learning to accept my thoughts and be vocal about them, because it's been years where I would think some of these things I'm going to say to you now and not say it out loud, because I would think that people might look at me like I think I'm this or I think I'm that. Well, guess what, people? I do think that, and it's okay. But who's to say, Dr. Jerry, that I was going to make it to the next TED Talk? This is a short life we live. We won't be here forever. You have to leave your footprints in the sand when you can. So if I was able to be there as I wanted to be there. Just as if I'm able to help one more person tomorrow. Look, again, let's keep it 1,000 wild, Dr. Jerry. I'm doing a cohort right now. I'm in the middle of a cohort right in Washington, D.C., in one of the toughest neighborhoods in Northeast D.C. And in helping the young people, I got a call today saying, man, some people was shooting at one of the buildings. We're not sure if your participants made it.
Mm-hmm.
See what that felt like? What if one of my participants didn't make it to see me tomorrow, and I needed to speak to them today? With God's grace, I've already talked to the young people. None of them were a part of that, but we don't know.
We don't know. You're absolutely right.
So if you're able to help somebody, if you're able to do more for yourself, do the 1% every day. Do 1% more today than you did yesterday. Help somebody.
I tell that to my audience all the time. You can use your life, regardless of what your career field is or anything. Like, we all have a platform. It doesn't have to be a radio show or an audience of 100,000, 10,000 people. We all have micro ways that we can impact the lives of others by just a kind word, checking up on someone, telling a young man to pull up their pants. All these little things, they matter. Everyone got mad at Monique when she was, on the young ladies about the bonnets. I completely 100% agree.
Yeah.
Bonnets have their place, but not in public, not when you should be displaying your best self and putting your best foot forward.
Yeah, because you know what I tell people to help with that? If you ever want to use it, give me $1.
Yeah.
You're forever on an interview. Somebody's always watching you. You're forever on an interview. Act like it. Represent yourself to the best everywhere you go.
It's absolutely true, man. Hey, look, this has already been an incredibly, powerful conversation. And like I said, I appreciate your transparency. I think a lot of people listening tonight can sort of see pieces of themselves somewhere in your story, my story. And so since we've been talking about your journey, your background, setbacks, lessons, all that stuff, we're going to take a pause and take a quick commercial break. But when we come back, I want to dig a little deeper into the theme of tonight's episode, which is the power of second chances, and just talk a little bit more about some of the impactful work you've been doing, talk a little bit more about your TEDx Largo talk and your upcoming initiatives and new book, and then what's next for you in the rest of this year and the upcoming new year. So everyone, don't go anywhere. You're listening to Live with Dr. Andre Jerry. We'll be right back.
That's right, at 10 p.m. every second Wednesday on artistfirst.com. It's the worldwide internet show, the GL Henderson Radio Hour. Tune in to hear a special guest from professionals, live topics, and get a blast from the past with musical legends like Lisa, The Temptations.
I know you want to leave me, but I refuse to let you go.
Manhattans.
Honey, you are my shining star.
Shanice. Shirley Murdoch.
And we slept the night away.
Dana Dane.
To make it interesting, it's me, Dana Dane.
Tina Marie, and more. Tune in to the GL Henderson Radio Hour, the king of relationship drama fiction. Every second Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on artistfirst.com.
Looking for your next car? Amazon Autos has you covered. With just a few clicks, you can shop a wide selection of new vehicles, compare prices, read reviews, and even arrange pickup or delivery, just like ordering anything else on Amazon. It's the future of car buying. Simple, transparent, and all online. Backed by Amazon's trusted network and partnering with local dealerships, Amazon Autos is redefining how we shop for cars. Visit Amazon.com/autos and drive into the future today.
Welcome to another broadcast of Spiritual Concerns, the Deborah Ruffini Show on Artist First Radio Network. We're live from England on Saturdays and Sundays, 3 p.m. New York, 8 p.m. London. All past shows are podcasts. Find them at artistfirst.com. I'll be your host, where issues relating to the spiritual matters of concern will be largely examined and discussed. Enjoy the show.
You're back live with Dr. Andre Jerry.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Live with Dr. Andre Jerry, where experience meets purpose. So tonight's guest is nationally recognized workforce development leader, mentor, motivational speaker, and author, Dr. B.J. Paige. Now, before the break, we had spent some time reflecting on his journey, his background. We talked about some adversity, personal growth, and some of the experiences that helped shape your purpose and your perspective. So, like I said before the break, now I want to shift gears a bit and talk a little bit more about the work you're doing today, because your impact has expanded tremendously over the past few years. And like we were talking about before the break, you recently gave a TEDx Largo talk. And I watched it, and I just want to say it was extremely well delivered. It was very memorable. I had no idea you were coming off of, having a medical procedure. But, giving a TEDx talk is actually one of those quiet goals that I've had for myself for a while now. But, interestingly enough, I never really aggressively pursued it because I've always felt like the timing wasn't there. And more importantly, the message, it has to be right. Because right now, if I'm just being completely honest, if I were to do a TED Talk, it would be probably, more of an ego thing for me. Go check out my TED Talk on YouTube. It has such and such views and all of that. But, I think a truly impactful TEDx talk like the one you gave, it requires clarity and life experience and refinement and a message that really is there to serve the people. So I wanted to ask you, what was it like standing on that stage with everything you had been through, just coming off of a medical procedure, making a decision to press forward anyhow? How did you have to adjust your delivery and timing and just overall approach to fit that environment?
Man, first off, before I even go to how I felt up there, I'm Mr. Your network is your net worth. Y'all know that's my quote. That's where I live at. I actually own the trademark. Your network is your net worth. I'm going to do everything I can to get you on TEDx stage now that I hear that.
I appreciate that.
Let me just say that out loud. But, so can you imagine, I'll tell you what my diagnosis was, and then I'll tell you how I felt. So I was diagnosed with intracranial hypotension. I know y'all never heard of it, so let me explain. It's where my brain was lacking fluid and sagging down in the back of my brain, causing where my spine lies, causing me to have severe headaches, outbursts, dizziness, forgetfulness. My attitude was not the same. I had the worst feelings. Like all I wanted to do was lay down because things felt so bad and dizzy. Like I remember growing up thinking that people that said stuff like that was lying, Dr. Jerry. Like ain't no way you got all this stuff going on in your head. I lived it and went through it. That lasted about 1.5 years. Went to all types of hospitals in Atlanta, Las Vegas, Virginia, D.C., a couple in Maryland, and ended up going to Johns Hopkins. And I'll be forever grateful to Johns Hopkins. I really believe they saved my life along with God's hands. But imagine me through all of those neurological issues that I had going on, having to prepare for a TED Talk, having to remember what you say things to speak, having to know what I need to say for something as important as such. I couldn't remember it, Doc. I couldn't remember what I was saying. I couldn't remember the words that I wrote down, and I had to figure it out. So what I promised myself is that when I get to this stage, just tell your story, B. Tell what's going on in your life. And if I'm, again, keeping it 1,000 with you, I have no idea what I felt like on stage. I just knew I wanted to get some things off my chest. I look at it almost like a comedian, right? Comedians prepare to get on stage just to really speak and tell their story. And that's what I did. And I'm thankful that I was authentic. I'm thankful that I have a real story. I don't have to lie about things. Not to say that people lie about things when they get on stage, but I know some people be capping. I know they be capping. So I didn't have to worry about it. So I don't know how I felt. I know how I felt afterwards. I felt like I did it. Like I can put my hands up if you can picture, yes, I remember that feeling because I wanted to get some things off my chest, and I finally got to. Because I haven't spoken. Then I haven't spoken for almost like 8 months. I needed that time. I needed that time to get it off. And the subject was what I mentioned earlier, the 35,000 decisions. I didn't make that my theme until like a week before because I had to decide if I was going to speak.
Wow. I'm glad you explained a little bit about the diagnosis. I'm not going to even try to say the name of the diagnosis again, but it really sounds like, it sounds like it's debilitating or was debilitating.
It was.
Especially when you think about what you do. I mean, how negatively or potentially negative impact that could be to your work, what you do. You're in front of hundreds and sometimes thousands of people, and you're not remembering what your points are, your talking points. All that stuff had to take a tremendous toll on you. So I'm just amazed that you stepped out on that TEDx stage. And I noticed that your pacing was different from what it normally is, but I thought that it was, no, seriously, I thought it was, okay, he has to kind of trim it, and be a certain way for the TEDx audience or whatever. So I just thought that you were being intentionally
not laugh because I
yourself.
noticed it too. That's why I laughed when I finally looked at it, because that was a month and a half before my neck surgery, which cleared up everything. So once I was cleared up and looked at it, I was thinking the same thing. Like, bro, you really was use your word.
I thought you were dialing yourself back.
I don't remember, bro.
Wow. Well, look, nonetheless, it was an amazing TED Talk. TED Talks are famous for being under 15 minutes. But you got on there and you made your point. The 35,000 was in big letters. So, it was, kind of memorable for those watching it from an audience perspective. It's like, okay, 35,000, what is this going to be about? And you instantly got to that point. It really was like almost like a father or an uncle talking to you.
I take that. I love that.
Yeah, you just got up there and, like you said, you just told your story. And so I just love the delivery of it. And I love how personable it was. It didn't come off like a TEDx talk. It was just like a regular conversation with people. So really great job on that. I hope you get an opportunity to do another one. And that leads me to
do one.
No, I'm going to do one. Once I get my messaging together, once the timing is right and everything lines up the way it needs to line up, then yes, definitely.
Okay.
So, yeah, any help you can be with that, I definitely appreciate being a part of your network. You know that. What do you have coming around the corner? Because I know you got some stuff cooking.
Yeah, man. We are officially, well, let me drop a pin on something, then I'll get to that. Sure. I partnered with an organization a few years ago called TAD Grants, where we got a certified youth consultant certification, right? And what that looks like is certifying you to do the same work that I do every day that I'm going to talk about in a second, helping the young people in the school, helping the educators in the school, and ultimately helping the parents and the community. So this year, we're being more intentional in spreading our wings. Most of our work was done in the Prince George's County, D.C. Public school area. We're spreading the wings and even sometimes leaving the geographic area to do the same. I want to get into the schools and show people. I don't have to stay forever, right? But I want to show other community organizations across the country how to do what we've been successful with over the last 15 to 18 years. So we should be coming to Georgia, Texas. I'm working on Colorado and California, just to spend like a month or two, right? And go to the neighborhoods. I'll say it, and it is what it is. Go to the barbershops, right? Always go to the barbershops and see who are the movers and shakers in your city, so I can show people that it's not that hard to rebuild what I say the school system should be everywhere across the country, which is the cornerstone of the community. Because if we go to some of the better neighborhoods, and I'll just leave it there, if you go to some of the better neighborhoods, it's not a secret why the school systems are better. Because the communities are better. Because the parents are being better. I'm not saying they are better. They're being better to the community and being better to the schools and being better to the students. And I'm showing people it's just a shift in mindset. So I'm going to challenge my team, and I know they're listening. to this and they'll listen again and again, we're going to touch more cities and more states, and it starts with people listening, connecting me with superintendents. Get me connected with these school systems. I don't know everything. I say this a lot. I don't know everything, but I do have a lot of tools that work. We got the data to prove it. We got the lived experience to prove it. And we got the years of concept to completion that proves it. So we're going to travel the country, man, and eventually travel the world like you. I'm going to be like you when I grow up, go to Vietnam. But all seriousness, just to touch more jurisdictions across the country.
Oh, I'm glad that you took a moment to mention about the TED grants. For anyone that's listening out there that may want a little bit more information on your TED grants and what other school systems and jurisdictions that you're seeking to outreach to, where can they find more information regarding that?
Man, everything is simple. bjpaige.com is the easiest. All socials, BJ Paige, and that's bjpaige.com.
Got it. bjpaige.com. Paige. Got it. Okay, so when you were on the show last time, you were working on a book. And actually, you broke the news on our show about your upcoming book. It was called Finding Your Nemo. How has the reception to that book been? I see it on your website, and I see it set up in all of your speaking engagements. How's the reception to that new book been?
Man, with a big smile, man. With a big smile, I'll say, man, that book is the game changer. It's the real elixir to the work that we do. Our full curriculum, we call it the Real Life program, is built around Finding Your Nemo. Every school I go to, we touch Finding Your Nemo. I can brag and say we've reached over, this is through the years, over 400,000 youth and young adults easily have known about Finding Your Nemo. I'm just thankful for the courage to tell some of the true stories, but to document some of the things that some traditional school and curriculum would say, oh, we can't have that in here. It's not curriculum based. To now say, because of the work that we've proven, bring that book over here because it goes and it helps with our curriculum. So, man, we've been blessed, man. Oh, man, and I didn't realize it until you said it, that I announced on your show that I was writing a book, and I'll announce again that we got a part 2 coming. That's crazy. You got both announcements, bro.
I love it.
Yeah.
Now, you were just putting the finishing touches on Finding Your Nemo when we last spoke. So I'm glad that it came to fruition. And actually, NEMO is an acronym for something. Can you remind the people what that stands for?
Yeah. Thanks for teeing that up. Finding Your Nemo is your new employment makeover. So it's the 10-step workforce development guide to finding your career. And it's often made for the transition from high school to adulthood. But what we found is that the post-secondary space have attached to it even more, and the people who support high school and post-secondary, so the educators and the workforce development gurus all have been drawn to the book.
That's wonderful news, man. I'm glad to hear about that. In your TEDx talk, you mentioned something that I really liked. You mentioned that you have a really hard time when people make it seem like there's an issue with people who don't know what they want to do.
Oh, yeah.
And kind of harp on that as a negative. You really embrace that, because one of the things that you said is that when you don't, you were like, bring me the people who don't know what they want to do. That's great. They're more apt to listen.
Without a doubt.
To what I,
Without a doubt.
Explain that, because I really like that part of your tech talk.
Yeah. It's again, some of the data we learned. It's a proven fact that if I meet a young person, you can pick the grade, right? Pick any grade from 7th to 12th grade. If I find a young person and they want to be a lawyer, the only thing that he or she is going to listen to is people in the space of lawyer or criminal justice.
Right.
So they may miss an opportunity of somebody who's telling them to be a doctor, to be a scientist, because they don't want to hear it. They're stuck on being a lawyer, which is okay, right? However, The person who's unsure, that young person or even that adult who's unsure, is like, I have no idea. The face that they make is like they feel defeated until we say that's the best thing I ever heard because I got all of these options, right? We can figure it out. Now we can figure out your strengths. What are you great at? What do you just don't like? What are you just terrible at? What are some things that you know that you can do every day? Let's figure out if there's a career in that. And we found through the years, man, we found some people who love art. I would use that one for an example, who love art, who's like, man, I can't make a living off this. To now, they are working at places like Boeing. Because of the coming out of the art industry, they need that design and tech. So you just never know. Don't be ashamed of saying you don't know. For listeners listening, regardless of where you are in life and age, if you don't know what you want to do, it's okay. Holler at Dr. Jerry, and he'll get in touch with me if you can't, because we'll figure it out for you.
That's right. And I just love that you said that because there is value in not knowing what you want to do. A lot of times people are made to feel less than because they don't know what career path they want to take. And, you know, some kids know early on what they want to do. I want to do this. I want to be a lawyer, or I want to be work in construction. That's great if you can identify that early on, but that's not every student's experience. Right. So I like that you normalize not knowing, remove the shame from it, and make it an opportunity to say, hey, okay, let's explore your interests. Let's explore some of the things you don't like doing, what you do like doing. So there's great opportunity there. So I'm really glad that you connected the dots with that and that we're talking about it again today, because I think it's going to help a lot of people that feel kind of bad. It's like, oh, I'm 26 and I don't know what I want to do yet. It's fine. You know, link up with somebody, like you said, a BJ Paige, a Dr. BJ Paige, or Dr. Jerry. Get with people that see your potential and want to guide you into the right direction. You know, you don't have to have everything figured out.
I got somebody right now. The program we had was built and designed for 18 to 24. The program I'm running right now in D.C. I got somebody in the program that's 31, wow. Right? And some of the people, the community leaders, are looking at me like, why are you letting him in the program? Well, check it out. Not only is he the best participant, he came in telling me, B, I just need help and I don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. And you got to give people that opportunity, man, because if he did not have that, what would he be doing today? Right now he has an ankle bracelet on his left leg and an ankle bracelet on his right leg, one for D.C. and one for Maryland. He finally got a wake-up call, and he needed a fair shot. And I'm thankful that we was able to give it to him at 31 because he's the best participant in the entire cohort.
See? I'm so glad you didn't turn them away, and I'm so glad that you didn't allow yourself to be bullied into not accepting him into the program, because like you said, you'd have been missing out on a really good individual who is really a star in some of your programs. Yeah. So, you know, shout out to him. I definitely might need to have him on the show to hear his story and talk about some of the things he has coming. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. You know, I'm going to remind you of something else you talked about on our last conversation. You mentioned a book that you were working on that's called How Not to Get Fired. Did you ever do anything with that, or did you kind of put more of the focus on finding your Nemo, or did you kind of merge those two concepts into that one book?
No, man. I wish I could show you right now, man. I wish we have not finished it, but what happened is it's amazing how life works. That's one of a series of 5 books that I have, and I need to get them done. So just thank you, bro. Thank you.
Well, look, the title.
I'm looking at it right now.
The title is perfect.
Yeah. As soon as you said it, I opened up my note. I got a good iPhone where we put, you create your notes. And it's a series. It's 5 books and that's one of 5. I got to get them done because they all go together in this great space of workforce development.
Right. So, brother, listen, you have worked with, students. You've worked with individuals who are reentering society, entering the workforce, reentering the workforce. What concerns you most about these various groups of people, and where do you see where the most need or support is needed with them?
What scares me is the judgment.
The judgment, yes.
It scares me. It scares me because society has them thinking, because society sometimes judges their population in a negative manner, they almost shoot them down, like before they even get a fair shot. Society scares me. But here's the messed up thing about society. I can almost guarantee that every person, if not you in your household, or your neighbor to the left or the right, I promise you one of the two, has somebody that's committed a crime in their family.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you now? You telling me that you're not going to give your family a second shot? I mean, who deserves it more than somebody who got into a crutch?
Exactly.
Somebody deserves it better than being judged. So that's what scares me. And what was the second half?
No, I mean that was really it. It was kind of identifying what seems to be the major issue that they're facing.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah,
and I think the judgment is a big one.
The judgment is the big one, but no, it is another piece. It is another piece. I believe in my heart that it needs to be legislation passed in almost every state, if it hasn't already, to ban that box. I know most states have them. Some states still don't. Some municipalities and cities don't. But it should not be a box to say, have you been incarcerated? It's not fair. It's wrong. It shouldn't be there. Or maybe they should say, have you ever committed a crime? Everybody should check that box, because we're not asking, did you get caught? Did you get convicted?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever committed? Because all y'all listeners committed something. Don't get me started, Doc. Don't get me started.
No, don't go in on the folks. But no, that's exactly true. And I can't wait until you start. Maybe you've already connected with your representatives in Congress to lobby for this. I know other organizations and other folks have been lobbying for this same sort of push to have that question removed. And to your point, maybe there are one or two states that have removed it, but I think it needs to be on a federal level, like you said, because it prevents a lot of people from reaching their full potential. It's very discouraging, and it just stimulates that what's the word? The judgment. That whole feeling of I can never get past this, when you have to confront your mistakes every single day when you go to fill out an application, is not fair.
And then the same people that's judging, and then we can let it go, because I might have got my blood pressure up. But the same people that's judging be the main ones say he or she need to get a job. They need to get their act together. Where can they do it?
Right.
Like, you're not giving them a shot.
Give them a shot. And let's talk about that really before we go, because you sort of have an inside track with a lot of these employers. What are these employers really looking for right now beyond the degrees and different certifications that they want you to have? What is it that they're looking for?
So the sad truth is, not just that population, but even this next generation, we need to do better at giving some of these soft skills. Because technology is taking over, because my joke is, because we ain't got to write in cursive no more, we lose some of our communication skills. And when you have a person sitting in front of a seasoned person, or a person that's hiring to give you an opportunity to make money for yourself, and they spend money to get you hired, and you can't officially sit in front of them and have a conversation, it makes it tough, man. It makes it tough. So if we can do better as a whole on both sides of that fence, the employer and the employee, or the person searching, we got to do better at communication. You got to do better at these soft skills. You got to be able to sit in front of somebody and be professional. You know me, Doc. I don't really like to wear suits and ties. But if I'm going on an interview, I'm going to have to put one on.
Yeah.
And don't question it. Like, I have to tell people now, like, you showed up wrong. Let me tell a quick story. I had a young man that's in the program right now. We did virtual interviews first before in person. He is laying down with the phone, holding the phone up. He's on his bed, on his back, y'all, with the phone up. So the phone is, he's looking straight at me, but I see a pillow behind his head. I said, young brother, are you laying down? He said, yes. I said, I'm not going to end the interview, but I'm going to give you 5 minutes to get yourself up and sit in the chair and be presentable. Right. It's the soft skills. That some people just don't know.
some people don't know the basics, the fundamentals of how to show up, how to present your best self. And so there has to be people like you, people like me to stand in the gap there and say, hey, I'm not going to throw you away, but like you said, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to get yourself together. This is not how you present on an interview. So yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that as well, because some of the soft skills are missing. The lack of communication, the lack of just looking someone directly in their eye, not looking down when you're talking. These little things that we have, sort of lost, unfortunately, over the years, and with all of these phones and AI and all this type of stuff. So
I got to say one more. Because it's going to eat me up if I don't. Another one is I'm talking to the next generation that's listening out there. Because text messages are so instant and easy now, they tend to carry over the text message lingo to emails. I'll use a quick example. You know what FR is on a text message?
For real?
Yeah. So I was reading an email from a younger person, and in the email it said FR. I said, you can't do that.
That drives me crazy. You cannot do that.
So we got to teach the difference in what that really looks like.
I got to team up with you to help some of these children.
Yeah, come on.
I can't allow this. Yeah, seeing for real in a even if you spell the whole thing out, I would have been pissed. Yeah. Like, you cannot do this.
You got to code switch a little bit. You got to get a little code switching in there.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Oh, man, I needed that laugh.
Oh, brother. Well, listen, every time I talk to you, I enjoy it. It's been really an incredible conversation. I'm happy and excited for anyone who's got a chance to listen to this and glean something from it. I appreciate all your transparency and your wisdom and everything. I know you just lost your father. I'm so sorry for that, and send condolences to you and to your family. And I admire the fact that you just are pressing on and continuing to, be a positive in the lives of a lot of young people and returning citizens and all of that. You're welcome to come back anytime. For those listening tonight, like I said, if you want to learn more about Dr. Paige, some of his initiatives, connect with him or book him for any speaking engagements or anything like that, go to bjpaige.com, bjpaige.com. And again, Doc, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's always a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you, man, and God bless you, man. Thank you so much. Be safe out there.
All right. And until next time, everyone, keep growing, keep evolving, keep walking in purpose. I'm Dr. Jerry. This is Live with Dr. Andre Jerry. We'll see you next time, folks. Take care.